Hi, everyone. I am Shan. It's my great pleasure and honor to be a part of your journey here today, and also excited to share my insights on digital ad creatives. My topic today will be build digital ad creatives with high revenue potential in the new digital era. So a little bit about me. I am a growth marketer for more than 11 years. I am deeply rooted in the startup, pre-IPO company, and tech world. And currently, I am the head of growth at Slip.stream, which is the largest royalty-free music library for personal creators and also businesses. We are also the most innovative platform integrating AI technologies to help creators to soundtrack their content fast and better. So the agenda for today will be, first, we're going to look into action items from 2023 digital advertising trends heading into 2024. So basically what we have learned and how we can apply that to our creative production process. And also how do we think about creatives in general to drive performance. And the second would be, how do we build ads specifically for high revenue potential and make real business impact? And lastly, but not the least, we are going to briefly to discuss how do we work with the creative team to make the most out from it. And on the right side, it is my favorite quote from David Ogilvy: if it doesn't sell, it isn't creative. So which really ties in with the topic we're going to talk about today, not just make creative and pretty, but most importantly, to make it drive business impact. So let's dive into part one, 2023 digital trend. The first trend that is observed is leading advertising platforms are providing turnkey solution for advertisers. Turnkey solution here means a much simpler campaign creation, management, and optimization approach. So what it used to be was a much more complicated and segment everything kind of approach. As you can see from the left-hand side chart, it is a very complicated account structure, a lot of different campaigns segmented by a lot of different ad sets, which means a lot of different targeting. And then there are creatives under each targeting. And what it is right now is that under one account, the number of campaigns are a lot less, and we don't have to segment everything. The targeting is much simpler and such. So what it means is that we no longer have to create a lot of different targetings and also sit behind the computer to make very robust and frequent budget optimizations. So what it has been replaced, so all of these effort has been replaced by algorithmic approaches and effort. So the campaign, which has a lot of different targetings all in one, and also set up a lifetime budget. So the campaign will automatically to assign budget to different targetings, to assign who and how and where and on what device do we want to approach and target and present with an ad. So everything has been happening, everything happening behind the scenes have been taken over by the algorithmic gradually. So which means there's a lot less human involvement in day-to-day management overall. So we no longer have to set budget on a daily, even hourly basis. We'll be taking care of the algorithm, and also the targeting will be taking care of the algorithm as well. So as for leading advertising platforms such as Google and Meta, arguably they have created better campaign types, which falls under this trend, meaning a much simpler account structure and much easier budget management. So for example, Google has pushing really hard on Performance Max campaign, and Meta has invented advanced shopping campaign for e-commerces. clients. So speaking of my own experiences with the companies and also the clients that I have served, gradually performance max campaigns and advanced shopping campaigns have been replacing some of the standard campaigns that used to drive performance. With experiments, it has proven that these two types of campaigns have been more efficient and more scalable, driving more business impact and revenue. So they're gradually replacing, the legacy campaigns. So a lot less human interactions and interventions on a day-to-day basis actually doesn't mean there's less effort overall. So we actually need to spend more time and thoughts into creatives and speed up creative production. As from what I have observed, creatives have been, after the account structure has been said and done, is the iterating of the creatives and keep experimenting with new and bold designs have been pushing the performance and driving incremental revenue. So, because the previous account structure has been very complicated, and we actually requires a lot more expertise in thinking about how, what are the targeting and how should we segment the targeting, and how do we manage the budget, and if all of that has been taken care of by the algorithm. So what really makes us stand out would be the creative part. It is still difficult for the platforms to help advertisers to come up with really customized and personalized creatives designs for the business. So as businesses, we still have to take care of that part. And that have become the differentiating factor. So yes, we need to focus a lot more on our creatives than ever before. The second trend is crowded marketplace filled with less differentiated product. So to begin with, I would like to share some numbers to begin with. 160 million businesses that are currently actively using Meta Business Suite. And I don't have the exact breakdown of the businesses who use the Meta Business Suite and not advertising on it versus the ones that do. But then it still should be a very substantial number. And the second chart, I would like to share with you the Google advertising revenue growth in the past 20 years. It has been very substantial. Even during the pandemic era, the growth has slowed down, but post-pandemic, as you can see from 2020 to 2021, it has a very substantial growth year over year, which means a lot of businesses are, new businesses are investing in Google, or existing advertisers are doubling down on Google. Now let's take a look at a screenshot from Amazon. When the screenshot from Amazon of the search result of salad bowls. So as you can see, the product presented here are not much different from one another. Some of them are solid, some of them are transparent, and some of them are from wood. But in general, they are pretty much the same with small nuances. Then on the software and SaaS business side, it is also the same story. So on the right-hand side, as you can see, the charts here, it actually represents the landscape of marketing technology from the year 2011 to 2023. As you can see, there are more and more logos showing up on the marketing technology landscape put together, meaning in one vertical, we have more businesses and more logos, which means their product offerings will become more and more similar to one another. So the same rules is also observed in the software and SaaS space as well. So the right-hand side is the marketing technology landscape change from 2011 to 2023. As you can see, there are more businesses and logos showing up on the chart. So from 2011, there's only 150 players and vendors in the MarTech space. And in 2023, there are more than 11,000. That means there are a lot more players who are competing in one vertical. And to some extent, it means their product offerings are not much differentiated. So it is very important for either sellable businesses and other SaaS or software businesses to keep refining on their products and then to discover the product features and shrinking the product gaps with their competitors. But equally important, you need to create an acquisition strategy that gets people's attention, and creatives is going to be a big part of it. And now let's move into part 2 to make your creatives actually drive more revenue. So the first to bring up is testing is key. So I understand that testing has become one of the biggest cliche in the marketing world. Everybody talks about testing, test this and test that, but very few people actually knows what to test and how to test, which is how the message of the attributes structured are different things we can test here as well. So over the years that I've been working with my clients and also the companies, I have developed this testing framework, meaning to give everyone a guidance on what to test and how to test. There are a lot more things we can talk about in testing and running experiment. We can go really quantitative. Today, we're going to focus on what to test and how to test them. So the 3 major things in the framework would be product attributes, storytelling, and the layout. So those are the 3 pillars or directions when we think about testing, we think about in this 3 pillars. In terms of product attribute, what it means is that what does the product do and what value does it bring? So when people wanted to buy a product and wanted to solve a pain in life or wanted to improve their lives. So how does this product help the customers to get there? And in terms of storytelling, it means how is the message of the attributes structured? So we can't just present them with the product attribute. It has to be a story behind it. Even if it's a 5-second or 10-second, there's still a little bit of a story behind there. So how do we structure the message will be very important. So within storytelling, there are 3 different things we wanted to pay attention to. One is the working environment or the context of the attributes. And the second would be the narrative. And then the third would be the sequence of the attributes, meaning how do we want to structure the storyline. And then the third would be the layout, meaning how is the message conveyed visually in the ad. Which there are a couple of things in it. One is the visual appearance, video versus still, the sequence of different elements, and also the color palettes, the background music, etc. Now let's take an example of a mattress company. Imagine we own a mattress company and we wanted to sell more mattresses for a moment. So what we can actually test within those 3 pillars. So in terms of product attributes for a mattress, we can test the cooling effects because a lot of people are hot sleepers. So for a mattress, if you can cool people down or not be so hot, not so warm, will be very important to people. So we can test that in the ad. And then the second will be the ergonomics factor to align the spine and then to support the hip, etc. And then another product attribute very important for mattresses is the price and bundling. So we can also test that as an attribute in the ad to see if that attract customers. And then in terms of storytelling, the context of the attribute could be a hot summer night, or it could be hot sleepers are all year round. They're turning and tossing on their mattress and can't fall asleep. Or we can use the context of complete the bedroom using the mattress and all of other beddings to build a cozy bedroom, or to build a cozy and welcoming guest room in the holiday season. Speaking of holidays, we can also talk about how do we share things as a gift, or maybe not mattresses, but stuff around products around mattresses, like pillows and beddings as a gift. And then in terms of testing the layout, what we can test is the text overlay on the on the ad. We can test the font size, the color, and then we can test using video and versus images to convey the storytelling and the product attributes. We can also try using animations. So all of those things are, the areas and items that we can think about testing if we are, to sell more mattresses. Let's look at some examples from an actual mattress companies and how are they taking this into action. And now let's take a look at how a leading mattress company, direct-to-consumer mattress company, Purple, is testing different attributes. And so the first ad, as we can see here, it is testing the attribute of reducing aches and pains. And then the second is to sleep up to, say, 4x cooler, meaning to test sleep cool attribute. And then the third is pricing. It is up to $900 off. And the last one is the attribute of temperature control. So then again, the purpose of testing different attributes is to appeal to different customers, because each customer is looking for probably drastically different things in a product. So we wanted to appeal to, as much of a broad audience as possible, also to provide to provide some creative for the algorithm to present some choices for the algorithm to attract to the target audiences. And in terms of test storytelling, as we can see, what Purple is doing here is testing, someone is sleeping very comfortably in the bed, and also testing making up a bedroom. And in terms of testing layout, we can see, it is testing out the layout of someone climbing up a mountain, conveying a very positive lifestyle, and coupled with text overlays. And then also is testing out a layout of text only. There is no image, no nothing on the ad, but only text to make the attributes stand out a little bit more. Again, different customers have different preferences, and then they are attracted by different things. So layout is one of the pillar you can test within your creatives. That's about it for the testing framework. And now let's move on to the next point, which is to be native. So there are a lot of studies carried out to study how humans are reacting to advertising. And what is presented here are heat maps that are showing where people's attentions are concentrated on the web page. As you can see, the boxed areas are digital ads inserted on the page. So there are actually very little attention paid to this boxed areas or the ads, because they have very little bright spots on them, which means humans' brains are trained over time to skip over ad very effectively, which is not everyone's fault, which is not anyone's fault, because there are just too many irrelevant and terrible ads that we have encountered and experienced that train our brains to skip over ad as soon as one is identified and recognized. So what we need to do here is to try to make the ad as native as possible to the content that has been serving on the platform. It is even more important to do so these days because everyone is, strolling through social media and looking through and consuming digital content, and there are actually more digital content, explosive amount of digital content being served on a lot of different platforms. So people's attention has become a scarce resources. So one of the objective of the ads is to fight for that, to fight for people's attention, to stop people from scrolling. Now let's take a look at some examples of some good native ad examples. So the first one is a screenshot from Snapchat. As you can see, the first one is actually the ad, which is Bad MGM. The ad blends in perfectly with the organic content presented on the stories page. And the next one is a screenshot from, I believe, this is Pinterest. And then Amazon has created this ad, which have a lot of items and products on it in a style of what a Pinterest post would look like, to blend in with the organic content. And then next one is the ad from Masterclass on Instagram. It is showing the band Metallica performing, and it is also something Metallica or Metallica fan page would organically post to attract Metallica fans. The last one is an ad on TikTok from Amazon Prime Video, which is a clip from Jimmy O Yang's talk show about Asian parents, which is very funny, very hilarious, which generated over 6.3 million likes. So that's actually a lot of likes for an ad. And of course, Amazon Prime Video does put a lot of money behind it. But if you look at the comments, is one of this the top comment is saying thank you for actual good ads. So yes, it successfully grabbed people's attention, and I'm sure some of these people from the 6.3 million likes would consider subscribing to Amazon Prime Video. So the takeaway from this is we actually need to understand how content is being consumed by each platform in order to be native. If we don't, we just create something that is, that do not blend in with the organic content, then our brain will easily recognize that this is an ad and skip over it. And then the second is we need to find the balance between the brand guidelines and the ad best practices. Yes, we wanted to create content that is as organic as possible, but then we also need to find a balance between the brand guidelines, because the brand guidelines sometimes does contradict with the content served on the platform. So for example, as for Chanel and Hermes, they don't normally adopt the UGC style ad, which has been very popular and arguably driving a lot of incremental sales for e-commerces and direct to consumers. But then these two brands, because they have a really high-end and premium targeting, luxury targeting, so they don't normally adopt the UGC type of style, which is very organic and very native, considering what people are posting on Instagram. Lastly, we shouldn't forget about music. And it's true that in a lot of platforms, content have been consumed muted, but it has been less and less so, as a lot of digital platforms even include Pinterest and are developing short videos, TikTok style kind of short videos for users to consume. And so then a lot of users are actually expect the content to have a sound element to it. And so then we need to actually find music that is that is legal to use in ad. So we need to be very careful here that a lot of music that we like to use, that we like to hear on Spotify are actually not okay to use in a commercial way. So find music to use on Slip.stream. We actually serve a lot of businesses to expand their reach through music on their digital content. And lastly, we need to find the focus of the ads. So here's a really beautiful ad with Scarlett Johansson on it. It's an ad from Dolce & Gabbana. So where people are looking at on this ad is actually on Scarlett Johansson's beautiful face, and especially around the eye area. It is very interesting when there is a picture presented, people always look at the eyes people always look at the eyes, and actually very little attention is on the actual product. So, as for a brand like Dolce & Gabbana has a lot of reach and also, a lot of advertising budget, maybe this is acceptable for them. But as for a lot of SMBs have a limited marketing dollar, we still wanted to make those ad dollars to work really hard. So we wanted to, take this into factor when we design the ad. And then the next example is Fairlife protein milk. As you can see, on the right-hand side is 30-gram high-quality protein, 150 calories, and 2-gram sugar. It is a perfect example of testing product attributes in an ad and also testing the combination of different attributes to attract customers. So what is driving the attention here is 30-gram because it's really, really big. And then also the 150 calories and 2 grams of sugar. So we are instantly attracted by these numbers because we are curious of what those actually means. And then the second layer, the secondary information would be about to explain the context of those numbers. So we wanted to make sure the major product attributes is in focus. So then when people look at an ad, they can clearly see what this ad is about, what is it selling, and how is it relevant to me. And second, we wanted to control the amount of selling points presented. So as for the Fairlife ad, it has protein and sugar and also the amount of calories in it. It doesn't have any other information, for example, where the milk is sourced or it is really clean in terms of ingredients. It's very limited, but it is none of that. So what it intends to do there is to drive people's attention on the amount of protein presented in the milk, and also calorie and the sugar count. And then lastly, we need to create a hierarchy when multiple elements are presented together on the ad. Because we actually want people's attention to be on the product selling point or the attribute that is the biggest selling point, and then on the rest. So if we don't have a hierarchy there, we just throw out a bunch of attributes, there's no focus points, and then at the end of the day, the viewers will not remember anything. Let's elaborate on the third point, which is creating a hierarchy. So here's an ad from the Harris, which is a direct-to-consumer brand. As you can see, the things that are driving the most attention could be the $5, which is in a different color than the rest, in orange and also bold. So obviously that is the primary information. And also there's secondary information here, which is the set worth $18, and there's an added bonus in the set. So what people walk away from the ad is that they will remember the set is $5, and that is a very compelling message point here, is to get a lot of items all at once for only $5. Now let's move into part 3, how to work with the creative team. So the most important point is to build a process. No matter if you're a big org or a early stage startup, a process help reduce mistakes made, and also not bringing surprises, to streamline everyone, to align with everyone. What are we creating? What channels are these creatives going to be invested in? And what would be the ideation, and also what would be the final product. So the process also helps the designers to understand better what kind of creatives are going to be needed. And so there's actually a lot of items that designers that need to know, which can be consumed and built into this process for them to, a reusable process which enables much simpler collection of all of this information to enable designers and to boost their productivity. And the second point is help designers understand better what the digital ads. So designers don't really have the experience as we do with the digital channels. And although they probably have, looked at Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or TikTok, work very often at their leisure time for recreational purposes. But it will be very helpful for us to explain the nuances to them. For example, the areas that they need to take into consideration when designing the ads, to explain to them the product attributes that you wanted to stand out, and then to get their opinion on how the layout should be, and also how to really attract people's attention and stop from scrolling. They are the experts in making all of these happen, but we just need to put them in the driver's seats from the passenger seat to enable them with the knowledge that we have, so that they can better understand what we're trying to create, and create as that actually drive business impact. And then the last point is to share results with them. It is really motivating for designers to see the ad that they're creating. It's driving business impact, it's driving revenue. So share results on a regular cadence help to motivate them. And also we can share learnings, and then to kind of, have a brainstorm or discussion to see why certain ads are working, why certain ads are not working. They probably have their own point of view and perspective that they can bring to the table to iterate and refine. And that's it for today's sharing. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I hope you can have some takeaways in terms of how to test the creatives, and also how to work better with the design team. Yes,